Listener's Paradise presents the poem explanation of the poem The Tiger by William Blake. In this segment, we will be explaining the poem, discussing it, the various themes, the important words associated with it, the figures of speech, and the rhyme scheme used in the poem. First, I would read out the poem for you. Tiger, tiger, burning bright, in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? In what distant deeps or skies burnt the fire of thine eyes? On what wings dare he aspire? What the hand dare seize the fire? And what shoulder and what art could twist the sinews of thy heart? And when thy heart began to beat, what dread hand and what dread feet? What the hammer, what the chain? In what furnace was thy brain? What the anvil, what dead grasp, dare its deadly terrors clasp? When the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears, did he smile his work to see? Did he who made the lamb make thee? Tiger, tiger, burning bright, in the forest of the night, what immortal hand or eye dare frame thy fearful symmetry? These are a few of the important words in the poem. Please pause the video at this point and note the important words down. I have enlisted a few other important words for your vocabulary in the poem, and I would request you to note these down as well. In the first stanza, we see that the poem opens with the speaker addressing the tiger, marveling at its fiery and intense presence. The tiger is described as burning bright in the dark forest of the night. The poem provides a striking image where a tiger is glowing with an otherworldly brilliance, prowling through the darkness of a forest. The word burning here suggests both the tiger's fiery coat and its intense power. The contrast between the tiger's fiery presence and the ominous setting of the forest creates a sense of awe and mystery. The speaker further poses a question about the identity of the creator, where he is asking, wondering, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? So here the speaker is wondering which divine force could have fashioned such a fearsome and symmetrical creature. The poet turns to the creator of the tiger, questioning the creator's ability to craft such a magnificent creature. Here the phrase where immortal hand or eye, it lays an emphasis on the creator's godlike power, while fearful symmetry suggests that the tiger's combination of beauty and ferocity. So the tiger is a combination, it's a representation of beauty and ferocity. So as readers of this poem, as learners, the poet is letting us wonder about the nature of this creator, this divine creator who has created this magnificent tiger and their motivations. What are their motivations for creating such a paradoxical creature such as the tiger? In the second stanza, we see that the poet is referring to what distant deeps or skies burn the fire of thine eyes. So the poet is posing a question about the identity of the creator, yeah? And the poet is wondering what divine force could have fashioned this symmetrical, fearsome creature, and we are questioning the ability, yeah, of the creator to craft this tiger. So we are asking, the poet is asking about the source of the fire in the tiger's eyes and pondering how the creator could dare to fashion such a powerful being. The phrase that distant deeps or skies, it suggests that the tiger's creation, it occurs in a realm beyond human understanding, perhaps in the heavens or in the depths of the earth. The mystery surrounding the tiger's creation, it adds to its allure, adds to the power of the tiger. The reference to the wings in the next line, on what wings dare he aspire, what the hand dare seize the fire. So this reference to the wings and seizing the fire suggests a daring act of creation, emphasizing the divine and creative forces at play while making or creating this tiger. In the third stanza, we see that the poet is opening with the lines, and what shoulder and what art could twist the sinews of thy heart. So now the poet is exploring the creative process, wondering what the artistic skills and the strength required to form the tiger were. So there is an imagery of twisting and the mention of the dread hand, dread feet. It adds to the creation's mystery, the powerful nature of the creation which went towards crafting this tiger. So the process of the heart, the heart is beating. When thy heart began to beat, that process of the heart beating, it adds a sense of vitality and life. So the creator is, the heart is beating, yeah. So it adds a sense of life to the whole creation process. Next, in the fourth stanza, we see that this poet is talking or continuing this line of inquiry, asking about the tools and processes which were involved in creating the magnificent tiger. So the poet is asking, mentioning the hammer, the chain, the furnace and the anvil. What are these tools for? These are the tools used to craft, perhaps used to craft or design the tiger. The poet does not know what was used, so he's asking, he's inquiring about what was used to make the tiger as a magnificent creature. Yeah, so it suggests there was a laborious, intense creative process adopted by the creator, and this idea of a dread grasp, it emphasizes the awe-inspiring and potentially menacing aspect of the tiger's creation. Dare it see, it's asking, what dread grasp dare its deadly terrors clasp? How did the creator design the ferocious, magnificent beast as a tiger? In the next stanza, the fifth stanza, the poet is introducing a cosmic element to the whole poem now, where the poet is describing the movement or the moment when the stars seem to be involved in the creation. So he is saying, when the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears. So this reference to tears and watering heaven, it adds a sense of mystery, mysterious qualities, to the whole poem. So something mysterious was behind crafting, behind designing the ferocious tiger. The question at the end, like he's asking, did he smile his work to see? Did he who made the lamb make thee? So the poet is questioning. There are questions at the end of the stanza where he's comparing the creation of the tiger to that of the meek, timid lamb. And the poet is questioning whether the same creator made both the tiger and the lamb. So the speaker questions whether the creator of the tiger was pleased with their work. How is he questioning this? Where do you find this? The phrase is used, did he smile his work to see? It suggests that the creator may have taken some joy in the creation of such a magnificent creature. The comparison between the tiger and the lamb, both created by the same deity, it highlights the paradoxical nature of existence, isn't it? That the same divinity, divine spirit, is making both the lamb which is meek, which is timid, which is innocent, and the magnificent tiger which is known for its ferocious nature, which is known for its power. So it's a dual nature, duality of existence. In the last stanza, we see in the sixth stanza, it's a repetition of the opening first stanza. So again, the poet is repeating and reinforcing the idea, the central question about the tiger's creation. And this repetition, it emphasizes the ongoing mystery and the speaker's, the poet's awe in the face of the tiger's fearful symmetry. So the stanza returns to the opening image of the tiger, but now we view the tiger in the context of the creator as well as the context of the lamb as well. Why? Because the creator created both the lamb as well as the tiger. And so what were the motivations? That is the central idea, central question. What motivated the creator to make both of them? So the speaker, the poet, is questioning whether the same deity who has created the lamb could also create such a fearful creature. And this juxtaposition further underscores the complexity of the natural world and the mystery of creation. Okay, and this makes us contemplate the forces that govern our existence. Same creator creating both. So it makes us contemplate. So the poem ends with a sense of wonder and contemplation. And the tiger, it remains an enigma, creation of both beauty and terror, a symbol of the paradoxical nature of existence. And the question about the creator, who is this creator, it remains unsolved. So that we as leaders, we as learners, we can reflect with wonder and awe that how the same creator made both the lamb and the tiger. What were the person's divine forces, motives? How was the tiger made? This beautiful beast, what immortal hand or eye? How was it made? Where was it designed? How was it? Did the stars have any role? So that is what the poet leaves us with. So here overall we can see that the tiger, this poem, it is a rich and multi-layered poem. There are so many layers. I'll go further, I'll talk about the themes in the poem. It is a rich and multi-layered poem in the sense that it invites us to explore the nature of creation and the divine as well as the complexities which are inherent in the world. So next we'll talk about the themes in this poem, and the first theme which we'll be talking about is creation and creativity. The poem here, it raises profound questions about the nature of creation and the creative process. The tiger is represented as a powerful and fearsome creature, and it becomes a symbol for the divine act of creation. So the poet is contemplating the tools, the skills, the imagination which were required to bring such a fearful creature into existence. And in the poem, we see that the poet is delving into the awe-inspiring act of creation, questioning the godlike power and artistry which are required to shape such a magnificent creature as the tiger. The poet wonders about the origins of the tiger, pondering the enigmatic depths from which it emerged. So these are the creation and the creativity theme in this poem. Next, the theme of duality of existence as well as the duality of nature. So the theme of duality is pervasive throughout the whole poem. Throughout the whole poem, we see this theme. So the tiger, it embodies opposing forces, beauty as well as terror, creation as well as destruction. So this contrasting images of the lamb in William Blake's other compositions, it contrasts such as the Song of Innocence and this tiger, this poem is from the Song of Experience. So it highlights the dual nature of existence where innocence and experience can coexist. And this poem, it highlights the duality, capturing both its breathtaking beauty and the inherent dangers which are associated in nature. So there is also a duality of nature seen in this poem. The tiger is a symbol of nature's power, embodies both the awe-inspiring magnificence and the potential for harm. The third theme which we talk about is the symbolism of the tiger. What does this tiger represent? So the tiger, it serves as a rich symbol representing various aspects of life and existence. It symbolizes the powerful, uncontrollable forces of nature and the darker side of creation. The fearful symmetry of the tiger, it suggests a balance in the universe, that symmetry. So even in its most intimidating aspects, there is some balance in nature. The tiger, with its radiant beauty and fierce nature, it embodies the paradoxical aspect of existence. The poem here, it explores the delicate balance between the opposing forces, challenging conventional notions of good and evil. The next theme is the question of innocence and experience. So as part of William Blake's broader collection, Other Poems for the Song of Experience, this poem is a part of the Song of Experience. So this poem, The Tiger, invites the reflection on the journey from innocence to experience. The questioning and contemplation in the poem, it reflects a move away from the simplicity of innocence to the complexities and challenges of experience. The fifth theme is nature and the divine. So in the natural world, it's represented by the tiger in this poem. It becomes a canvas for exploring divine attributes. The creator is somebody, who is creating this tiger, divine spirit here. So the poem contemplates whether the same creator who made the gentle lamb also made the fierce tiger. And this blurs the lines between good and evil, gentleness and ferocity. Next, the theme for discussion is fear and awe. So in this poem, it elicits a strong emotional response, evoking both fear and awe. So the poet is in awe of the tiger as well as in fear. In awe as in he's marveling at how this tiger was created, but he is also fearful of this ferocious beast. So the tiger burning bright in the dark forest creates a sense of both beauty and terror. The forest is dark, but the tiger is burning bright. The awe-inspiring and intimidating aspects of the tiger contribute to the emotional depth in the poem. Next, the role of imagination used. So here, William Blake emphasizes the role of imagination in understanding the world around us. The poem, it encourages us as readers, as listeners, to engage our imaginative faculties, to contemplate the mysteries presented. The creative act of envisioning the tiger's creation becomes a process of intellectual and emotional exploration. The next theme is the cosmic and mythic elements in the poem. So references to the stars which are throwing down their spheres and watering heavens with their tears, right? There is one, there are these lines in this poem. It introduces the element of cosmic dimensions. And these elements, they elevate the poem beyond the simple contemplation of a creature in nature to a reflection on the universe and the timeless themes. If you take up a central summary of the whole poem, it explores these themes as I have enlisted above, and William Blake uses a very vivid imagery, relying on rhetorical questions, rich symbolism, contributing to the enduring complexity and the interpretations of this poem. Next, we'll talk about the figures of speech used in the poem. This slide gives us the figures of speech used in the first stanza. And for instance, we can see that in the first stanza there are 3 figures of speech evident. The first is metaphor, where burning bright describes the intense presence of the tiger. The next is alliteration, where the tiger is repeated, tiger, tiger, or the forest of the night. So you are having repetitive consonant sounds for emphasizing across the poem to make it more useful for the poet, to make the thoughts accessible to the learners and the readers. Next is imagery. In the forest of the night, it creates a visual imagery of the tiger in a mysterious and dark setting. In the second stanza, again we see a case of imagery where distant deeps or skies, it creates a sense of vastness and cosmic dimensions. The poet further uses rhetorical questions in the second stanza. It's completely filled with rhetorical questions which invites contemplation rather than demanding specific answers. The poet is not demanding specific answers but contemplating, asking us to contemplate. In the third stanza, we see cases of personification where the poet is asking about what dread hand, what dread feet. It personifies the elements of creation, emphasizing their fearful nature. Also, we find case of imagery where twisting the sinews of their heart, it creates a vivid image of the whole creative process. In this stanza, we see the case of synecdoche, where the hammer, chain, furnace, they are representing the tools of creation which were used by the creator to craft the tiger. Again, we see a case of imagery where the tools and processes of creation, they are described vividly, adding to the overall craftsmanship. As I have said, the poet relies on using imagery throughout the poem and symbolism as well. So again, in the fifth stanza, we see a case of imagery where stars threw down their spears and watered the heaven in their tears. So that line creates a powerful image of cosmic events. Next, symbolism, where the tears, the stars, the reference to the lamb as well as the tiger, it symbolizes cosmic and divine elements in the poem. In the final stanza of this poem, the tiger, we see a case of repetition where the repetition of the opening stanza is done in the final stanza with a slight variation of emphasis to the central questions and themes. So there is a moving away from the central idea where there's a transition, like how we begin the poem and the repetition again in the sixth stanza. And finally, we again see a case of imagery where the forest of the night, burning bright tiger, they are repeated, reinforcing the visual and thematic elements in the poem. So this poem, it follows the AABB rhyme scheme. As we can see, it's a 6-stanza poem with four lines each, and each subsequent stanza maintains the pattern of rhyming couplets. So in the first stanza, we see the AABB scheme, and so on and so forth up to the 6th stanza. It contributes to the rhythmic and structured flow of the poem, and this consistent rhyme scheme helps to create a musical and memorable quality in the verses. Thank you for listening. Have a good day.